Union.
Sock Posse, what's up, world? Welcome to another episode of the Team Sock Posse podcast. My name is Glad.
And I'm your boy, Rob. We are your favorite Team Sock Posse podcast show where we interview great entrepreneurs from all sectors of industry. And remember, subscribe, share, comment below. Subscribe, share, comment below. Glad.
We have a great show. We're laughing. We're already cracking up. We have a great show for you guys.
Oh, man.
Our good friend just made big news, just made big headlines, and we just reconnected with her. Tasha Stoute, the new senior director of urban publicity of Mnrk Music Group.
Tasha
Stoute.
Congrats.
What's up?
Thank you.
What up? Congrats.
What's up? Is this your first podcast interview since then? Or is this your first podcast interview?
My first podcast interview since
Dope.
Since the promotion.
Wow. The exclusives. There
we got the exclusive.
Dope.
Now, we're going to take it down a memory lane because we've known you for a while.
Since you were freshmen in college.
Since I was a baby. Skinny, no facial hair, but a lot of energy.
Right.
A lot of energy. And all I remember was Post Nation.
Yes.
Tasha Stoute. That's all I remember.
Yo.
Right?
I see.
Well, you tell your stories because before I knew Tasha and Rob, go ahead, Rob. You start first.
Tasha Stoute. Post Nation.
Post Nation.
Like,
those are some good days.
Very good days.
Good days.
y'all opened my eyes. That whole group, it was the industry, like the energy. But most of all was your loyalty to that group. Practice. She's not playing.
Can I curse?
Yeah.
I took that shit seriously.
So wait, you were a captain or like you were the like?
I ended up captain. Captain. That was, I think, after Shonda left. Well, she stepped down to do other things at the time. Right. So I took over as captain. Yeah. You know, Post Nation, it was interesting.
Yes.
It was interesting.
And you were
But I did love it because I was dancer at heart.
Yes, you were.
So you were
I swore I was the next Debbie Allen.
Nah, because it was
hands down.
Every day. Every day.
Hands
Tasha
down.
was going to practice.
Where were y'all practicing at? It was downstairs.
In the bottom of the lunch hall, whatever.
Yes.
By the weight room. Because I remember I used to call the guys out, have y'all sit and like have the girls dance for y'all because I needed them to connect with the audience.
That was so dope.
You knew production. You knew about entertainment and production since like then.
I think in my head I did. Like, because since I was a little girl, I was a dancer at heart. Like, Fame is my favorite movie ever. So I used to dance in my house thinking I was like Coco or Debbie Allen. Like, that was...
That's what's up.
And so anything I ever did that was dance related, it was always that same energy.
So you get to Post and there's Post Nation and it just...
No. I went to Farmingdale and we did a talent show. And shout out to Homer. We did a talent show and we actually recreated Janet Jackson's If. And that kind of like just... Actually, no, it was before that because there was another girl named, was it Mnrk? So when I got to Farmingdale, I was still a dancer at heart because I actually danced in high school too. And I would go to class, go to work at Filene's basement, come back. Right. That's how old I am. Go to Filene's basement and there would be dance. Like she would just have like a dance session in the middle underneath the calf. And I would go every time. And one day she just pulled me aside and was like, yo, you got something. I want you to come and dance with me here.
Nice.
So she had me. She was Haitian too.
Okay.
So I actually danced. I went on auditions because I was going on auditions before that. So I auditioned to be a fly girl before I got into college.
Okay.
And live in color?
It was the same. It was the same year that Jennifer Lopez did hers. But
wow.
Clearly I'm small. So I didn't make it, but I did that, and then I met Mnrk, and she had me do some stuff with her. I actually ended up dancing for this Haitian group, this all-female Haitian group from Queens. And I was supposed to go to Paris, a whole 9. Like, we were supposed to go to Haiti. We were supposed to go and travel. Something happened, never happened. But I did video, like, I danced at the Apollo because of them. Like, all my dreams came true. Like,
That's what's up.
I was like, Debbie Allen was that was my worst night ever dancing, but I did it.
In front of Debbie.
In front of Debbie and Malcolm Jamal Warner, Cosby Show was like the biggest thing then.
Right.
And that was absolutely amazing. And then I auditioned for Nick City Dancers.
I remember that.
So that was huge.
That was a big deal.
Yeah, because I did get a second call back from that. And I also auditioned for Stomp. So like dance was always my thing. Wow. So, Pulse Nation was just like boot camp.
That's where I remember. That's the last time I heard about, because I forgot who. You're talking about years. And they were like, yeah, Tasha stopped dancing for the Knicks. I was like, oh, word? I definitely see that happening. That's a no-brainer.
So that was real. Even when I went to grad school, I would still come back, because remember I went next door, and I would still come back and dance with choreographed Pulse Nation. Like that was my and then I got a job.
And so I remember when I came, I had a lot of energy. I became part of Campus Activists Board. I was with hanging out with these knuckleheads, Rob and Rudy. And you were always, you was always around, right? Because you were always about like the events on campus, and the fashion show was a big deal.
Oh gosh!
And I just always remember you. Rudy was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put Tasha in a silhouette, in a bodysuit."
It was Rudy in these bodysuits, bro.
Rudy was always trying to find a way to get you.
That was, that was actually a good show for me too, because that forced me to do something I probably never thought I would have done either. Like, no, that was a good one.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Thanks, Rudy.
Shout out to Rudy. And then I guess
Rudy Francis.
Oh my God. The notorious Rudy Francis.
Oh my God.
And then everybody go our separate. We go our separate ways. We graduate, and then I think I see you at an industry event. I believe, I forget. I don't even remember how we reconnected.
I don't remember, but I remember you had.
I was working at Dada at the time with Dre.
Right.
And then, so when you graduated, how did you get into the business? Did you start interning? Excuse me. How did you transition from school into the music business?
So I went, like I said, I went next door to NYIT for grad school, and I needed to graduate.
What were you studying?
Well, it was supposed to be advertising, and my advertising teacher died the first semester.
Wow.
So you do get an A. I probably was already getting an A, but I definitely got an A. So they didn't have anything else really. So I just continued, and I went into TV production and PR. So, and I almost actually went into TV production because I enjoyed video editing a lot. And I decided, like, forget PR, like this is what I'm going to do. But I needed 4 credits to graduate. Shout out to Rain Hudson. Renette, for those that know her.
Oh, man.
And she worked at Columbia at the time. So she was like, I got you. And she got me an internship in the PR department. So there I interned with Miguel Beguer, Yvette Gale, and Yvette Knowles Shore. All of them are OGs in the industry.
And for those who don't know their names, let them know who.
Right. So Miguel Beguer had like the Fugees. That whole time there was amazing, because think of all like the iconic groups that was there. So Yvette Knowles Shore had Beyonce, and not Beyonce, the original Destiny's Child. Right. And Yvette Gale had Escape and Escape and 50. So, and then other things was like So Def, when So Def was really, really popping. There was like Kenny Lattimore. It was like the who's who of Black music at that time. Maxwell, like that whole department had everything. It was like the soundtracks, all of that. Like my whole I still got CDs.
Still got CDs.
I still have go to my parents' house. There's a wall of CDs.
Oh, wow.
My mother screamed at me the other day. I was like, you still got a box of CDs in the garage. I need them gone. And so, like I created a really great relationship with them, and it was time for me to go, and they would still hire me to do stuff to come back and help. So, the networking part of it, I had down packed. Like I left a really great impression on them.
Nice.
And then I started temping in the building because I was like, I'm looking for a job. So I'm going to be in the building to get a job. And it just so happens that my best friend introduced me to one of his friends that worked at Atlantic. Kelvin Turnbull, I love you, boo, because he's the reason why I'm here. Wow. So he worked at Atlantic, and it just so happens, I think when we first met, he decided, he was like, whatever. He was like, okay, cute. And then one day we were stuck on the F train going to the city, both going to work, and we were stuck in the same car. And so we had a conversation, and he was like, from that moment, he decided he was going to help me get a job.
Wow. So
he took me to, when I say every industry party, like it was a thing. It was like, okay, you got to have the image. You got to do all of this. Like we're going to all the industry parties. And then he heard from a friend of his, Chris Chambers, my first boss ever.
Shout out to Chris Chambers.
Shout out to Chris Chambers.
We're talking about him in a little bit.
For sure.
Shout out to Chris. And he was like, Chris Chambers is looking for an assistant. And we went to every single party he was at. And I remember because him and Miguel were best friends. And I told Miguel I'm going to meet him and asked him if he was going. And don't leave me out there because I need you to introduce me because I need this job. And he never showed up. So I introduced myself and I was like, fuck it. Like, what do I got to lose?
Right.
Sometimes I miss that Tasha because she didn't care at all. And I introduced myself. He gave me his card. He was like, you can call me or email me. And then I remember telling him, don't ignore me. Don't not answer my call.
Right.
You don't not return my.
You were ready for it. Yeah,
right. Because I was so hell bent on not becoming a statistic. And at that time it was a statistic of, you went to college, you spent all this money and you did not have a job in your field, in your industry. And I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm going to get this job. And I got the job. So, my first year and a half there was very interesting. Actually, I did 5 years there. So my 5 years there was interesting. But yeah.
Now, when we met again, you were at Interscope.
When you got me my dadas?
Yeah, I was at that at the time. You were at this is before.
I was definitely at Interscope.
And this is before you was working with Chris Chambers, right?
No, I was working with Chris then.
You worked with him.
Well, okay. I worked for him I started in 99, so it was like 99 to 2001, early 2001.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to figure out like when. It was like, I think it was like 2000.
It was 2001.
2001, because I clearly remember 2001 year.
Yeah. Okay.
And I remember wearing those dadas.
Yeah.
Every chance I got.
Definitely. Like, and I think Chris had broken away and then to do his own thing, right?
No, he left to go to Arista. I was supposed to go to Arista, but I changed my mind at the last minute.
Wow. Gotcha. Because that's where I learned. I remember hearing Chris from. It was
Arista. Duties of a publicist, from your internship to you getting your foot in the door. Tell us about some of the duties, because there's people out here
who want to be publicists,
want to get into the business. Let them know something, because it's not all glamour.
Why? Why? I mean, I love what I do. 20 some odd years in, and I still love what I do. But I probably didn't really start doing what I do now until I left Interscope, because I was still like an assistant / coordinator. And I wasn't doing anything that I was trained to do, in school. Like nothing like the books gave us. Like my boss wasn't having that shit. Like it was like, I need you to answer my phones. And that shit is real. Like that you find some people that are not about that life to help you grow and become whoever you want to be.
Right.
And at that time, that wasn't the case. So when they finally laid me off, I was happy as fuck. I prayed on that shit.
They laid you off?
Yeah, I was happy. Like, I prayed on it. I prayed on it. But I was lucky enough that I had a really great relationship with the head of the department and HR because they let me leave after I got vested. So I got my pension.
Nice.
So, and that doesn't happen. That, you know, you really don't have those type of relationships. So, but every day, I mean, it's my job to inform, educate, like, you know, that's the textbook for words of it. Inform and educate the public to see and persuade to see my point of view. So if I tell you that this is the next hot shit, it's the next hot shit because I'm going to sell it to you. I'm going to shove it down your throat. Like, that's my way. Like, I'm going to, and you know, because you used to get, when you started your own thing, I used to email, text, call.
Definitely.
I'm
Urban
a stalker.
City Magazine, Crime Magazine.
I'm a stalker. So that's what we're supposed to do. But in between all of that, I'm somebody's mother, somebody's babysitter, somebody's little sister, somebody's gopher, somebody's like, yo, let me buy you dinner. Like, it's all of that. Like, you know, your job is just not to, I think some people think because you see it on television, like Sex and the City, you had Samantha, and Samantha was like this oversexed publicist. Like, nah, like, we're not like that. There's another show that's on, I think, Netflix right now. Or is it, no, it's Amazon, called Slack. It's based in the UK. But like the first episode is like the girl trying to clean up. And sometimes you do have to clean shit up. I don't like to subscribe to cleaning anybody's shit up. But sometimes that comes with the job. And it's like, you know, she's snorting coke and all this. And I was like, no, that's not our life. That's not my life. And where do they do that at? But yeah, like that's kind of what it is. So, you know, it's about networking. It's about developing relationships. It's about, you know, trying to be super creative sometimes. Like, you know, not only do I have, you know, I'm the senior director there, but I have my own stuff that I do. So I have to, you know, some of my talent, they are not as well known, but for those newer artists, I hustle. Like, I really, really do hustle for them. So, and that's the other part of it. So it's not getting you on the list to go to the club or getting you past the line to get you inside from the velvet rope and all that other stuff. It really is, like, it really is work. It really is, like, I write. Like, you have to know how to write. You know, actually some people don't, because you can hire somebody to write anything. But I write all my stuff. Okay. So, you know, like
press releases,
except for bios, I don't. I can write bios. I can write them. I don't like writing them. So I hire somebody for that. But the press releases and stuff, like, I write all of those. And what makes it great is if I'm super motivated, because like I listened to somebody's album maybe a month ago. The press release is going out tomorrow. I wrote that press release a month ago. I sat there, listened to the album, and I was so motivated. I wrote the thing in one setting. Wow. Like, I sat there and wrote it. And I told management, like, it's already done. Nice. And he was like, I was like, yeah, no, I was motivated. I was like, the first 6 songs got me.
Really? So let's talk about that. Like, we're talking about 20 plus years in the industry. What's like one of the craziest things as a publicist you've ever done for an artist?
The craziest? I don't know if I do crazy things for artists, but I do remember one Grammys. I could talk about this now, cause shit.
Okay, go ahead.
Years ago.
Let's go.
Years ago.
Give it to us. Let's go. Let's go.
So one year it was Grammys. I was working at the Chamber Group. Shout out to Chris again. And he had left me in charge of making sure like everybody had, you know, every publicist was able to go and get the tickets for the artist. So usually, you know, you go, you pick up your credentials and then go and pick up the parking pass and tickets if they leave your name to pick them up for the talent. We had just picked up the Dream at the time. And so the young lady that was the publicist there, she was actually leaving that weekend. Like, that was like, like, I'm starting a new job. And but we I had told her, like, don't forget to go and get the parking pass. She was like, okay, no problem. She went and picked up the tickets, but forgot the parking pass. So now Grammy morning, we're doing our staff call, making sure like everything is on point. And I had, at the time, I was working with Lecrae. So I was like, okay, so it hit me on our call when he said parking passes. I said yes, because I was like, I'm not going to throw anybody on the bus. So I said yes. And then I'm texting her like, yo, did you get that parking pass? And she was like, oh shit, I forgot. So I instantly was like, okay, as soon as we hung up, she was like, I'm already dressed. I'm going down there. She was going to pick up the parking pass. I was half dressed. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go and leave. I should have got fully dressed. But I said, I'm okay. I'm going to meet you. When I say I jumped in the car, I was staying at the Hilton. And the front of the Hilton, like it's the, it's the cul-de-sac. So it was just all the cars were there. So I'm like, yo, I need to hurry up, get my car because I got to go all the way downtown LA to come back, I guess, uptown LA. And I literally was like, by the time I sped all the way there, I probably should have got a ticket and rolled into the parking lot. Literally was like, you know how you see on TV, like people get into the parking lot.
Yeah. That was
me. And I was like, and I rolled up and I was not stopping the car. Hurry up, throw them in. And just sped out. So I had to go and meet the Dreams assistant, dropped off the tickets, had to go back to my hotel to go and finish, get dressed. And when I pulled up, management for Lecrae was like, what you doing here? He just left. Wow. And I was like, oh shit. So I had to run upstairs. It was like, everybody kept on texting me and I had to like go and get my jacket and ran back downstairs and was like, he was sitting there waiting for me like, yo, what happened? Wow. And I was like, I'm coming. I'm almost there. Like that's probably one of the worst. Amazing because he won the Grammy later on, but that was probably one of the craziest things that ever happened because like,
jeez.
Wow.
But that's the stuff you do.
Yeah.
Like that's the stuff you gotta do. Like gotta make it happen. There's no excuses on anything. So
Mnrk Music Group, tell me about that. How did that become, into
Mnrk?
Yeah, how did that come into play?
How did I get there? Or
well,
how did it
form? One, and then how did you get there?
Okay, so I was there before we got the new name. So most people know Mnrk previous name before that. So Mnrk was once Koch. Koch turned into E1 because it was bought out by E1. And then Blackstone bought E1. So we changed the name to Mnrk. Shout out to Fairleigh McCaskill. Because the job literally fell into my lap. Because at that point, I was already freelancing. So I have my own thing. So at the time, like I have Tank, I got Louis York, I got Lettucey, I have all these projects that do well on their own. So my friend, I probably was considering going back in-house, but I had spent so many years doing my own thing and being on my own and there's things I missed about being in-house, but I was just like, when she hit me, she was like, you want my job? And I was like, girl, whatever. She actually told me that a year prior. And I was like, whatever. And she was like, nah, like I'm leaving. And I was like, okay. And so then a year later, she asked me again. And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, come on, like you could still do this. You could, like, look at all the, stuff that we've talked about in the past. And like me and her actually had like the same kind of trajectory as far as our careers went and the same experiences. So it's kind of like we're kindred spirits and stuff. So, so when she told me, she's like, you're the only person I'm recommending for the job. Wow. And so she was like, if you don't take it, like, I don't know who else can do this job. So I said, fine, I'll do the interview. And it was great because, my boss is dope. And I was able to, and the interview was just kind of like, I'd already worked with her before. So she was just like, I didn't realize, like, you did all this stuff or whatever. And then she walked me into Alan Grunblatt's office. Shout out to Alan. And the conversation we had then was Dionne Warwick. Because he was like, oh, we're signing Dionne Warwick. And I was like, oh, I've worked at OJ's before and El DeBarge. So it was like working the old school, the real old school artists wasn't like far-fetched. And so he's like, really? I was like, yeah. So then a couple of days later, I got a call and was like, yo, we want to offer you the job. So that's kind of how I got. That's probably the fastest job I've ever gotten.
Congrats
again.
Definitely. Thank you.
That's what's up.
So what's the lineup? Tell us who you're working with now, artist wise, and doing publicity for.
So at Mnrk, I do publicity for Blueface. Didn't we just discuss this? And I already forgot. Blueface, K. Michelle. We have Onyx. There's RZA, one of my favorites. RZA and DJ Scratch. Who else? Drama. Yep. DJ Drama coming out. 7th Streeter. We have Onyx and we have Cypress Hill, but I don't really have to touch Cypress.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay. They were just here in New York and Brooklyn too.
Yes, and actually after Versus, I wanted to go and see their show because their presence on stage is incredible.
Yeah, for sure.
Incredible. Onyx too, though. By the way, like Onyx.
Still killing it.
Same energy.
Yeah.
High energy.
Same energy. And I'm walking around like Sticky really has his voice in real life. Like this ain't even
That
fake.
is crazy.
Here's a question for you. In this day and age in music, right? You got the internet, you got artists kind of breaking their own music, you know, getting a lot of buzz, right? Is publicity still important in this new age of music and how artists are marketing and promoting themselves?
I'm never gonna say no, but I think what we do has changed. You know, like I came from traditional PR, but I can do other. You know, I could do digital stuff too. But in actuality, like they call it digital, but it's all the same thing. Like before they gave it the name digital, we were already talking to websites and blogs about posting. So it's not new. It's just, you know, I think what makes it new and different is adding social media and adding the DSPs. So
meaning
like Apple, Spotify, all of that. So adding those into the mix because now, you know, like we don't have CDs unless you like the only time I play CDs is when I'm in my car.
Okay.
That's if I want to hear something. You know, I still have my
still
Honda
play
Civic.
CDs.
And I still play my.
You still got your Honda Civic?
I mean, I bought another car too, but
those are like
and that has one too.
Those
but
are the most long-lasting cars
I have
ever
like
made.
I think mine has like 100 and is it 67? 167,000 miles.
Now you probably go another 100.
It probably will.
Easy.
It probably will. I mean, but I do have another car, so it's not like I'm gonna ride that one till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Like that's my baby.
Yeah. So publicity is still important in this day and age.
Yes, it is. Because you know, who's gonna be that champion? Like that's what I consider myself. Like, you know, I'm a champion for every artist that I work, unless you piss me off. And there has been some, so they just get basic Tasha. I mean, basic Tasha is still good Tasha, but you know, you don't get the.
I ain't try, you know, going halfway through.
Right.
You know, yeah.
Like, you know, I'm not going to truly hustle for you, but like I just had my new girl group perform at Disney, for their Disney Dreamers Academy, and like should they have been there? Probably not, but they were. So
you made it happen for them.
And I did that for actually the guys that discovered them, they're a group. And I got them to perform at Essence Festival.
Nice.
That was like a couple of years ago. But did they belong there? Maybe not.
Right. Wow. You made it happen.
But I got them there.
You made it happen. Nice.
Relationships is key.
Right. So with publicity, I feel like you have to be a champion. You have to find somebody that's a champion for you. And, you know, anybody that I personally take on, I'm definitely 100% co-signing, and I'm behind that. But even work stuff, like my work stuff, I'm, you know, like I go in, you know, I always have somebody giving me, you know, the extra information so I can use it for my benefit. I'll share it later, but let me get my shit. So, and that's usually what it is. I mean, you know, as a publicist, you know, people have to see you as like that confidant. Like I'm the bank, I'm the vault. Like I hold everything. you know, up until recently, my name was probably never in shit. But you have to be that ride or die for that artist to really get them placements. Like I said, you know, sometimes you have artists, you'll see stuff and you're like, yo, how did they get that? It's because like, it's not because they went out and did it. Their management may have contacts as well, but you still need that buffer in between you and the journalist, or you and the editor. Somebody to sit there and, like, you remember R. Kelly when he did that first bad interview. There was a publicist making sure, like, yo, no, you gotta leave. We're leaving. Like, that's what you do. You know, you make sure that it's always, your client is always in the best light possible.
Correct.
Even when they show up in the worst light. Like, you still gotta spin it and say, like, you know, whatever.
Wow.
But
have you ever created any gossips or fake gossips or drama to spew on social media to get attention or publicity for your clients?
No, I never did that.
Oh,
no,
I'm just asking.
No, my clients do well on doing it themselves.
Oh, yeah.
They do well on their own. I just be like, don't call me at 3:00.
You said you said you like working with was it RZA you said?
RZA and Scratch, yep. I mean, there's a few that I love working with.
Tell me why.
Recently, his energy is just good. Him and Scratch, their energy is great. You know, they've been in the game for so long that like, you know, they're not necessarily showing up late. And, you know, I used to say hip hop is always late. So, but they're not, you know, RZA's out in Hollywood doing Hollywood things. Scratch is, you know, all over the world doing worldly things, you know, so they know that they need to show up on time. And, you know, it's about the first impression, you know, so people can have you back again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
being professional,
I mean, but there's other ones that, you know, it's like, like, y'all stay late, y'all 2 hours late, but I still love them too.
Right.
But yeah, no, DJ Scratch and RZA, they're one of my favorites. Yeah, there's a few that are my favorites for whatever reason, but yeah.
So what's now that social media and everything is impact, you know, everything is social media, everything.
Right.
So what's the biggest difference you feel? Like, do you think hip hop is still the way it was back then compared to now?
No, like, I love hip hop. I'm just not into the stuff that they are doing right now. But there's still other artists like Royce 5'9". He's also a sweetheart. That are giving impactful hip hop, as I like to say. No, it's not. I mean, just how they treat it. Like I think I grew up to hip hop, so I care about the culture a little bit different than, say, other people who may run some of these places, or even some of the publicists that work them, because like I care about the artists as well. You know, like I remember working Beanie Siegel, and I was terrified because you know, everybody from Philly I knew came with the stories, and I was like, I'm not talking to him. I'm just gonna sit here in my seat. You sit there, But what made me like him, and he's one of my favorites too, is that he was just like, I don't want my kids to see that daddy goes to jail all the time. And, you know, like, and that was like, that's hip hop. Like, you know, like that's the imagery that most people see. And I was so like, wow, like there's a human behind it. Like, you don't really think a lot of times that, you know, you just see them as the artist, but I get to see them as the regular person a lot, you know, when they're off from stage, or when they're, you know, when they get in the car so we can go to a photo shoot or go to an interview. So I see a different side. So, you know, and even look, Blueface too. Blueface been in the news for a lot of shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the Blueface I see is not that. So like, you know, he's really mild-mannered. We were just having this conversation today. He's really mild-mannered, polite, you know, and you give him direction and he'll listen. You know, their personal life is their personal life. I have nothing to do with
have
that.
nothing to do with that. So when his personal life is out there on social media, how do you help him deal with that as a publicist on the label?
Well, usually in their personal life as a publicist from the label, we have no comment.
Okay.
But we're not his personal publicist, so we can't we're not cleaning that up per se. I mean, if a manager calls me and asks me anything, I will definitely give my professional opinion all the time to help them get out of the rut. But now as a personal publicist to other folks, yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I am like, did you do this for real? Like, I need the real story, so I know how I need to maneuver.
Right.
You know, like I said, I work with Nrk from time to time currently, and when that whole Joe Rogan thing, like, it was me and my partner.
Really?
Like trying to navigate,
trying to deal with that.
all of that.
You're trying to
navigate all of that.
Wow.
But you know, it was a black girl.
So what was the strategy to deal with that? Like, how did you guys strategize to kind of mitigate everything?
With that, it was really trying to pull back because people had so much to say. You know, there was people that was like, why is she talking? There was other people like, oh, I want to hear what she has to say. And India definitely is her own person. Like, she's super smart. She's her own person. She has her own voice. It was just really trying to help her navigate where do we navigate this voice? You know, and also for me, I was like, you don't need to talk that much because, you know, people are running with everything anyway. So, you know, she'll go on social. I say, don't go on social. I wish everybody would take away the passwords and the phone. Those, like, that's probably the worst thing with social media being around is that everybody feels like they need to say something. They need to do it right now in this moment, opposed to ask somebody, should I say this? This is what I want to do. Should I do it or should I not? So with me, it was with us, it was more like, okay, let's have, like, I think every day we had a meeting. Every day was a meeting. Then it was like, okay, you know, all the requests came in. Everybody wanted to talk to her. And I was like, well, we only need to have certain conversations. And if you said it here, why are we going to do this and this and this? Because that's all they're going to ask you is the same question. So you only need to say it once or twice, and that's it. And I think she only did about 3 interviews, probably like CNN International, and Good Morning America.
And that was it. Good strategy.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
I mean, no, I was trying to sit
down. Have you ever been starstruck or worked with somebody that you have to do publicity for? Because you're around celebrities all the time. But have you ever been starstruck with anybody that you either worked with? and if so, who?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. So I remember nobody necessarily like knew. Right. But so I used to work Essence Festival as well. So I used to do the PR for that. And so being backstage in the press room.
Thanks for the invite, but go ahead.
Yeah. Nice plug. I like that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That ended a long time ago. And going backstage was always a killer because I would see like everybody. I remember like I was like, I want to, you know, Carl Thomas, you know, or who else really had me, like Patti LaBelle and all that other stuff. But like people who really, really had me starstruck was I remember escorting Lettucey to the NAACP Awards, like one of their pre-award dinners, and Debbie Allen walked in.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And I was like,
Came full circle.
Right. It sure did. And I was like, no, like you're here to work. So I was like, we're going to keep it all inside because we're here to work. And I saw somebody walk over to her and I was like, girl, this is your moment. Get it. And so I calmly walked over to her and I just like kind of whispered and said, I just want to let you know I love you.
Wow.
And she was like, "Oh no, thank you." And I was like, "No, you don't understand. I love you."
The Tasha.
Right. I was like, "No, I love." I said, "You don't understand, like
All
Fave, like you're the reason why I dance." She was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yes."
Nice.
And she was like, "Do you still dance?" No. And I quietly walked right back to my spot, waiting for Len to show up. Another one was Natalie Cole. I love all the old ones. Natalie Cole, I saw her on the Grammy red carpet, and I was like, "Come on!" Like trying to follow her because I'm hitting her. Like, I just want to say hi,
Right.
and didn't happen. And I remember a friend had got me tickets to go and see her at the pier. I forgot what pier, some pier one summer, and I got backstage, and she was signing autographs, and like I had this whole like. I was gonna, just tell how much I loved her too. And this guy cut in and was like, "Yo, we gotta go and do this."
Oh,
and
man.
she signed it and was out. And my friend looked at me. She's like, "Oh, you're heartbroken." But eventually I saw her because I went to this event in Cali and she was performing and I was backstage singing. This person was like, "You're way too young to know all this stuff."
Oh, wow.
And when she came off, I just, confessed my undying love. And she was very gracious. There's probably like the OJs too. When I found out I was working them, I was singing in the office every OJ song. They were like, "Really? I need you to calm down." Actually, El DeBarge, they told me I needed to calm down.
Wow.
But I think the height was probably New Edition because I'm a huge
really?
New Edition fan.
Okay.
Likewise. That's
So,
this dude.
Right.
Oh.
So, and that's like my first concert ever in life.
Really?
It was New Edition. It was at Westbury Music Fair, New Edition, LL Cool J, and UCFO. Now I'm really old.
Okay.
And I was working Essence, and that was their return to Essence Festival. And I remember telling everybody, like, nobody touched them. They're mine.
Wow.
And that whole day I was singing, and Chris was like, "I need you to calm down. I need you to calm down." It's like, I'm calm. Like, I am the professional. I will be professional. And I was. I was.
Right.
And the only thing I did was ask for a picture.
Oh,
That's what's
cool.
up.
That's all I.
And you got it.
And I got it.
With all of them.
All of them.
That's
Nice.
All 6.
That's what's up.
All 6.
All 6.
That's what's up.
And I used to work Johnny. So
Really?
Okay.
yeah, that was probably when he had that single with New Edition.
Mm-hmm.
That was my closest thing because I always said like, I'm gonna work. I'm gonna be their publicist.
Nice.
And that's probably the closest I came to it.
What a day.
All good.
By
it's
Jason.
okay.
So yeah.
So in the industry as a Black woman, what are some of your, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Challenges.
That I'm Black.
Really?
Because nobody wants a Black publicist. Let's be clear. Nobody wants a Black publicist. Like, I remember
Beyonce's publicist is Black. She's powerful.
But Beyonce has loyalty. Like,
Okay.
Beyonce has loyalty. Like, the one thing as a publicist in general is to find that one client that's your ride or die, right? And as one of my other friends would say, the white man's ice is colder. So, and that's what people believe. Like I said, I also worked the Essence Black Women in Hollywood Luncheon. So that's like the big Black event for Oscar week. And what's crazy is that we will be like the Chamber Group at the time. We were the only Black publicists on the red carpet.
Ooh.
Like
Wow.
every year it was maybe the smaller actors that came through had Black publicists, but the bigger names, everybody's white. Everybody's white. I will say one white publicist did shock me because we had Viola Davis one year, and I was like, "Yo, I gotta pull her. Like, I gotta take her to the back." And she stopped me and was like, "Aren't these her people? Don't you want me?" I was like, "Okay, white lady."
Wow.
I was like, "Okay, you know what?"
So how do we change that? How do we get more Black publicists at these?
I don't know.
Events?
Well, I think what it is too is that we have to work 10 times harder than our counterparts. And I think some people may see us as, like, oh, they're Black because they're hood. Or not even that. Like, you don't have the reach. You don't have the reach. So sometimes it's like, we might not be invited to the table. Some of us make our way to the table, though. Some of us bring other publicists with us to the table. But, I think part of the issue is that sometimes you will get publicists, and it's not just, I say white girls fake it till they make it. Like, as a Black girl publicist, for me, I always felt like I had to know everything because I can never show up. But it's true. You can never show up half-assed. You can, like, as if you don't know something, they're going to harp on that you could do 10 things right. But that 11th thing, if you don't know it or you can't do it, they're going to shut you down. Like, oh, well, you don't know how to do that. And there are some publicists, I don't know who they are because they're none of my friends, and that's no shade, but there's some that, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Wow.
So they can't write, or they can't they can't write a simple press release, or, they show up and they think they should be on the red carpet as well. Like, I've been on several red carpets and you'll never see me take a picture. I might be caught in a shot by accident, but I'm never like, and I've had photographers say like, hey, like, let's take a picture of you. And I'm like, yo, I'm not here for that. Like, I'm here to work. So, and I think that's part, because and I'm sure some, that you'll see them like they are like the artists themselves.
Right.
And for me, I've always been in the industry feeling like my work will shine through whatever I do. So I'm just here to work. I'm just here to work and shove my clients down your throat and make you tell me yes. So that's about it. But I do feel like that's an issue. So like for me, for anybody who wants, like you had asked earlier, anybody who wants to get in the industry, go to school or at least take a class, get a job, study under somebody. Because then at that point, like when you just take a class or you see a movie and like, oh, this is what I want to do, you're basing whatever you want to do based off of what you just saw, not realizing like this shit is real work.
Right.
Like my parents probably just realized what the hell I do. At least my mother did. My mother had no clue. All she could tell you is that I'm on red carpets all the time, but she don't know nothing else.
Wow.
And it just so happens actually during the India thing, like she actually saw me in action, like talking her off of a ledge, talking her through stuff, prepping her for an interview and stuff. And I was like, this is what I do every day outside of the phone calls that you think I'm on, chilling every day.
That's crazy.
But I do feel like, those coming in, like I said, this is not brain surgery. So even if you don't go to school, like this is not your major, or you take a couple of classes and you read a book, you need to mentor or something under somebody so that you can learn one and also kind of figure out who you are. Like I had Chris and I had my other boss. I had like several bosses, and then I went on my own, and then I had to figure out who I was as a publicist. And I took a little bit of everything plus whatever I had in me and made me. So and I think that's part of the issue, is that folks get this warped sense of what a publicist is, and they go out thinking like it's super easy, and it's and it's not. Like trust me, I definitely like when I leave here, I probably will be back in the car working. So and on the way here I was working. So I think that's that's probably just know your shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they try to use against us, is that we don't show up ready, we don't show up professional. And I mean every situation is different. Like even though I might go to the hip hop awards, I'm still showing up as Tasha Stout. Like I'm not I'm not showing up no makeup, no hair done.
Yeah,
right.
Like I got an image to uphold.
I got an image.
Speaking of image, Damon Dash talks a lot about culture vultures and this and that. What's your take on it as a publicist? You're working in a powerful music industry, it's making billions of dollars every year. What's your take on that? Are there gatekeepers? Are there culture vultures out there that's taking advantage of the music? I think
so.
Okay.
I think so. I think, like I said, it goes back to loving the culture. I think there's some people who are genuinely, I have a coworker who says like, this is our birthright. Hip hop is our birthright. R&B is our birthright. So we can only talk about, the impact that it's had because it's part of us, how we grew up. And then you have those that they may have grown up on hip hop, but the experience that you get from hip hop, or how it first really impacted you, they don't have that experience. Like, I'm from Hollis, so Run DMC, LL, all of that. And I grew up through seeing all this stuff happen. And now the violence part, no, wasn't part of that. Wasn't part of that. But there's other folks that's how they perceive it. So then you have folks that they want to dress, they want to talk about it, and then you're like,
yeah,
really,
it's
a parody. It's a parody for you,
right?
Where like, these are people's lives. Like, I remember being in a car with another artist and seeing all these dudes get out and put on bulletproof vests. And I was like, oh.
Like, literally walked out the car.
Right.
And everybody put on.
They got in my car and I was like, I'm hitting the deck. But,
damn.
But like, seeing stuff like that, like that's their reality.
That's their reality, right?
And so then you have people that want to, come out and be like, what's those daggone Island Boys? Like, really?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
and they're killing social media with that,
right?
With that look or whatever. But
right.
But it's all, it comes down to marketing, I assume, and it's all this.
I mean, all you need is one good person, I feel like, to retweet or repost. And I mean, it could be something real simple, and repost it, and then all of a sudden, like that, overnight, you go viral.
Yeah,
they probably wouldn't have gone viral if one person was laughing at them sharing it, and then it got to the right person and they posted it, and then now they're all over the place. I mean, that's how social media works. It's really quick.
Wow. So, what do you want to see? Where do you see yourself in this industry, like, in the next few years?
Retired.
Yeah.
Retired.
Retired because you're tired.
Retired. I mean, I still love what I do. I had this conversation with somebody else. Like, what's the next thing for me to do? Because there's other things within the music industry that I love to do. Like, I do like working with talent. So, these press people out here make it hard sometimes. So, part of the time I'm thinking like, yeah, I don't want to do this no more. I still love it, but there's days where it's like, I don't want to do it no more, because it's just, days are just hard.
It's intense.
Super intense. But then there's other days where, I'm like, yo, I could do this forever. And then there's days where it's like, okay, you're not going to do this forever because you're not trying to chase nobody down on red carpet.
Right.
What else do you want to do? Like, I still think I want to work with talent. I do like working with talent. If it's on a management side, I don't know. Because, psychologically for me, it's like, you're a manager, so now you have to do everything within this person's life. As a publicist, you still have somebody's life in your hands, which I love because I'm able to make an impact on their life. But I don't know about being somebody's manager, but I feel like management and PR probably go hand in hand. They probably have the same job.
Yeah.
Do I want to do that anymore? I don't know.
Okay. Time will tell.
I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah.
I mean, I see myself on a vacation.
Maybe just go back and being a dancer and just focus on dancing.
Right.
Opening up a dance school or something.
Something like that.
Right. Something like that. Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
Let's. I think it's time for the secret question. I don't know if you know about this, but we're gonna ask. Pick a random question.
She was like, "What the hell is that?" Okay. This shit.
Yeah. Go ahead. Let's see what question you get.
I'm trying to mix it up real good. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Nope, not that. That's a salt shaker. I don't want that. Okay. All right. Let's see what you got. Go ahead.
No, you open it. Yeah.
You will have good fortune. Have you found your purpose? Oh, that's a good question. As a publicist, I think so. Like, I really do love what I do. I really feel like this is probably what I'm here to do. Like, dancing was probably like, if my parents were a little bit more supportive, it probably been something different. But since my mother didn't want to pay for that extra money to go to Post,
so it's all good.
But you know what? My mother did give me a book of like, jobs and stuff that to do, and I, this right here is not one job that your parents that tell you that they want you to go up to. Like they want you to be a doctor, lawyer, physical therapist, dentist, all of that, and
especially the music industry,
right? And actually, I never wanted to go in the music industry. I wanted to be entertainment. I never wanted music. That was just a happenstance. But you know what? When I took that book in my hands, I heard the words public relations. Never heard it before at all. Like, in that time I was at Farmingdale. So I never heard that word. And I looked it up, and when I read it, I was like, this is me. This is what I'm going to be.
Interesting.
This is it.
Wow.
And I was gung-ho ever since. Dope. To still be here after 20 something years and to still actually love what I do and really be passionate about the artists that I work with. I think I have found my purpose because, I give the voice to the voiceless. They don't know how to, either they don't know how to say it. I help them figure it out. They don't know how to get in front of somebody. I get them in front of that person. Just thinking about some of the artists that I've worked with over the years that really came and had nowhere to, like, this is what I want to do, but they don't know how to get there. And I probably use every trick out of my back pocket to get them in the space.
Wow.
Nice. So I want to know, before you get out of here, you heard it here first.
Wow.
Hot artists that we don't know about that you're working with right now that we're going to hear about pretty soon. The world's going to hear about that you're working with right now.
The Shindellas.
Those are my girls. Tell us more about them.
The Shindellas are 3 amazing vocalists. They can all sing lead in their own right. The Shindellas, they were put together. They were started by multi-Grammy nominated songwriting and production duo Chuck Harmony and Claude Kelly. So with those guys, think of Miley Cyrus, Whitney, Mary J. Blige, Jasmine Sullivan, Lettucey, Bruno Mars. Like, so Rihanna, like, these are the dudes that have written hits for those artists. And they were going to quit the industry themselves. Really? And they put themselves together as a group. But then they decided that they wanted to put together a girl group. And so these girls are in the vein of like the Supremes, the Clark sisters, the Pointer Sisters, Destiny's Child even.
Wow. Okay.
Where are they from?
One is from Dallas. So Stacy's from Chicago. Tam is from Dallas, and Casey is from Seattle. Or she's from Washington.
So they got stage presence. They sing.
They have
they
everything.
Okay.
Like, I don't know one person that has met them and not fell in love.
Really?
Not fell in love with these girls.
When is their single dropping? If it hasn't already, album dropping.
Their debut album, Hits That Stick Like Grits, dropped last year.
Hits That Stick Like Grits.
Yes, and so you get a little bit of everything. Okay. Like I can say that with this group, like, they're super creative, right? So it's not like I'm doing R&B and then you get all the same R&B.
Right.
Like, every song on there is different. Like, my favorite song on the album is called Lullaby, right? So Lullaby is a self-affirming song. But it's so, from the first time I heard it, I broke out in tears because I was like, yo, this touched my soul.
Wow.
But there's other songs on there that, like Money, somebody said, like, I don't know if this is a gospel song or a pop song, but it's
really?
Good.
It's good.
Right.
Okay, cool.
So they have, like, they give you show. Like, they give you show. Like, in some cases you have artists that they walk onto stage and you can't tell if they were part of the audience or not. Like, no, when these girls come up, they look the part. They act the part.
Okay.
They can sing. One of the girls was, Stacy used to write jingles for advertisement first advertising agency in Chicago. Tam was actually on The Voice.
Nice.
And Casey did like off Broadway, or I guess Broadway in her city. And they all make up the Shindellas. Like, they are absolutely one of my favorites. I adore these girls. I fight for these girls every day. I shove them down everybody's
Sounds like a breath of fresh air, Rob.
No, they are.
yeah, for real.
Sounds like we got to get them on the podcast soon.
No, because I mean, especially nowadays, I applaud you because I mean, there are no groups anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
There are no groups out there. Like, there's no such thing as R&B anymore, in my opinion.
Right.
You know,
like Tank said. Shout out to Tank.
Shout out to Tank.
Shout out to Tank.
I've seen Tank live. The dude can.
He
still got it.
On the floor.
Yeah, he gets them ladies. Wow.
On a different vibe.
On a different vibe. But no, I applaud you on that because there are no groups out there like that. That's really
like there's no girl groups.
There are no girl groups at all.
No, but they are like that's a girl group that just performed at Disney, and when we left, Disney was like they're still talking about them.
Wow.
So, for me, it's, I need everybody else to jump on the bandwagon.
True.
But I mean, like, as far as in the R&B world, people are, I mean, like Beyonce's a fan, Missy's a fan, Anita Baker's a fan.
Nice.
They can sing at a moment's notice. Like, those are my girls.
The Shindellas.
Coming soon.
So
they're already here.
They're already here.
No, they're already here. They just dropped the intro for their new album, Barbecues and Body Rolls.
Barbecues and Body Rolls. I love these titles.
Yes, but that
Joe is like,
Joe loving it. Joe write it down. He
got his tongue out.
But
I love it.
I will say, because there's a drastic difference, there definitely is a difference between the last album and this album.
Okay.
The last album was probably a little bit more like, Supremes, all of that. And like I said, they can sing their ass off. This one is a little bit more grittier. So they just released the intro and everybody is loving just the intro of it because the intro sounds like it needs to be a real song.
Nice.
So, the next song is supposed to drop in another couple of weeks. So I look forward to shoving that down everybody else's throat.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
One more question before you leave.
Yes.
If you had the ultimate artist, one artist outside of the Shindellas, who would you love? That's your camera. Oh no, this is your camera right
that's
here.
That's my camera.
Yeah. Who would you love to work
with?
One artist.
Okay, so it would have been New Edition, but I think I know too much from that, especially from that movie. So, because that's actually that was my ultimate. Like, that's all I want to do. Get to them. Who would I want to work with? I forgot to mention Stokely. I love Stokely.
Oh,
too.
Stokely.
Yeah, that's my other baby.
Okay.
Okay.
Who would I want to work with? I don't know.
My daughter told me to introduce me about Stokely.
What?
Yeah, man.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, I was just like,
Yeah, from mint conditions, Stokely. Like,
that's crazy.
No, because TikTok, it's
right.
So
right now, who would I?
Not Beyonce.
No, Yvette has that. Good. No, but I mean,
hip hop artist.
That's such a hard question.
You got to start, Rob.
Yeah, I got to start.
That's such a hard question. I'm not really sure because I feel like I've worked with so many good ones, probably beyond my imagination. From legends, icons to up and comers. Diana Ross.
That's a good one.
Diana Ross, the boss.
The
That's a good one.
Like, yeah, maybe Diana Ross.
She's still touring.
Wow.
She is still touring.
She's definitely still touring.
Okay. Yeah, I think probably maybe Diana Ross. I can't imagine because like the new ones don't really impress me as much. So And I mean, a lot of my clients I probably are not fans of in the beginning.
Right.
I become a fan afterwards.
Got it.
So, you know, like I've worked with Jasmine. I Tank led India.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all those folks. And like I said, I've worked people that I probably never thought I would have. Mm-hmm. So I think I probably, you know, like if Diana Ross, yes.
Wow. Okay.
So like, Diana Ross it is.
There you have it.
That's what's up.
Diana Ross, if you're listening, yep.
Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Having me.
Thank you.
We saw the post, the press release, and we're like, wow, that's big. We got to get you on.
I knew her when.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Just the beginning. Just proud of you, man. Just to see your growth.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You guys too, though. Like, you know. You guys have come a long way as well.
Thank you.
Man.
I remember when, you know, Glad was bringing me them dadas.
Them dadas.
Yeah. Crazy.
I remember in Queens on Mnrk, this dude had Dada Supremes.
Yeah.
Flooding Queens.
Flooding
Queens.
Queens.
Dada.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that, I mean, but it's good to see that, you know, folks that you went to college with. Actually, like, out here doing that.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Nah, it's real. It's real out here.
I mean, it's something that just disappeared off the face of the earth. Rudy.
Yeah.
Rudy. Come back to Rudy Francis again.
Rudy Francis, what's up?
Thanks for connecting us, though, Rudy. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate you, bro. All right.
Let people know where they could find you, or are you staying kind of obsolete?
You mean quiet? Like
Quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, well, if I approve you to follow me,
there it is. There it is.
It's Ms. Guinness. So MZGUINNESS as in stout. So not everybody gets it. Not everybody gets it.
Love the marketing. They need to pay you on
that. How does a young up and coming artist get a publicist like you?
You gotta check.
Gotta check.
I mean, but I don't.
They don't have to be signed though.
No, like for me personally, I won't. Like,
but they're up and coming with. No
I
money.
won't do that.
You won't do that.
No.
But if
and
they
that's
have,
honest.
But if they have a talent like the next Diana Ross,
no,
you're not doing it.
No.
All right, cool.
No.
All right, no. I mean, it's just
because you kind of you got so much skin in the game, and you just don't have the time to help and cultivate.
Honestly, for me to do that, I have to 100% see the vision, and that's usually what it is. Gotcha. I have to see the vision for every artist, especially new artists. Like when I started working with Lecrae, Lecrae was like the Jay-Z of Christian hip hop, really. And they wanted to come over into mainstream, but I saw the vision and I heard the vision in the music. So I was like, I can sell this. Like with the Shindellas, I'm cool with Chuck and Claude, but outside of being cool with Chuck and Claude, like they really is a vision with them. So like I will take that on. There's a couple of other clients and old clients that I have that when I saw them, I saw the vision. Like there's who I owe a phone call to, Kristen Gray. I met him in the Christian hip hop space. Now he's just in secular side. But I remember going to the back of this club that we were having a showcase for another artist. And I went to the back of the club and I heard him sing and I turned around and I was like, yo, who is this kid? And a couple weeks later, I got a phone call. I was like, he's looking for a publicist. Same thing with Lettucey. I remember going to Essence and seeing Patti LaBelle on stage. And I turned around and I started walking away and I heard her voice. And I was like, yo, who is that? And all you see is her walking out in this yellow dress. But I was like, her voice is amazing. And a couple of weeks later, they were like, yo, you're working Lettucey.
Oh, nice.
So
you heard that, young artist. She has to see the vision,
and I need
she
a check.
And she has to approve you on IG. So there it is. Rob, housekeeping items.
Team Sock Passe Podcast. Remember, Team Sock Passe Podcast. And subscribe, share, comment below. You're going to find all of Tasha Stout's information down below. It's hot. Like,
lights are hot.
The lights. Joe got us on crazy.
Like 110 in here.
Looking like KFC. Yo. Right?
Wrap it up, because Tasha got to go back to work.
Yo, seriously. So, Team Sock Passe podcast. Glad. What we doing?
Joe, we were with Tasha Style. We had a great interview.
Did I say I was West Indian too?
Let them know.
Buh!
Let them
Buh!
check out our merch, teamsockpasse.com. And definitely look out for our friend Tasha Styles' interview coming soon, Rob.
Yes, I forgot our sponsors for the show. I forgot.
Right.
Let them know. Let them know.
Disclaimer, Sweet 1041.
Say it again.
Sweet 1041.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them. Thank you.
No doubt.
And also Roots of Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cutting the checks.
They cutting the checks. We got to pay these bills.
Got to pay these bills.
Yes. Thank y'all so much.
Team South Passe.
We out.
We out.
Beat.